"Ma'am, you don't belong in first class, step aside." The flight attendant's sneer cuts through the hum of lax as Helen Miller, a 42-year-old black tech CEO, clutches her valid ticket. Shock ripples through the cabin. Passengers stare, silent. Humiliated, Helen's escorted off Horizon Air, her dignity trampled for no reason but her race. But this isn't her end, it's her spark. In 48 hours, she'll turn this injustice into a revolution, seizing the airline to rebuild it for all. Can one woman topple a prejudiced empire? Stay tuned, this is Helen's flight to justice, and it's soaring straight to your heart. Ever been judged before you could speak? Helen Miller knows that sting. Picture Los Angeles International Airport. A whirlwind of hurried footsteps and flickering departure boards. It's a warm September morning, and Helen, 42, strides through the terminal, her navy suit crisp, her leather satchel heavy with contracts worth $10 million. She's the CEO of MillerTech Solutions, a black woman who turned a garage startup into a cybersecurity fortress. Exhaustion lingers in her eyes, 80 hours of work in 7 days, but her posture radiates grace, earned through years of overcoming doubt. This is her moment of respite, a first-class seat on Horizon Air Flight 1423 to Chicago, booked 4 months ago for solitude and strategy. But fate, like a storm cloud, has other plans. Helen approaches the gate, her boarding pass gleaming for seat 2B. The agent scans it with a nod. "Enjoy your flight, Miss Miller," he says. She steps onto the jetway, the hum of the aircraft a promise of peace. Yet, as she enters the cabin, a chill settles. Clara Thompson, a 35-year-old flight attendant, greets passengers with rehearsed warmth until her eyes meet Helen's. Her smile falters, like a candle snuffed out. "Ma'am, I'll need to check your ticket," Clara demands, her voice sharp, her hand outstretched. Helen, calm as a still lake, hands over the pass. "Seat 2B by the window," she says, her tone steady. Clara studies the ticket, her scrutiny a blade. "This is yours?" she asks, as if Helen's presence in first class is a riddle. "Yes," Helen replies, her voice a quiet fortress. "I reserved it months ago." Behind her, a white executive in his 60s glides aboard unquestioned. Then another. No second glances, no demands. The contrast stings, a silent sermon on prejudice. "There's an issue with your seat," Clara announces, loud enough for heads to turn. "Please step aside while I confirm with the gate." Helen's pulse quickens, but her face remains serene. "My ticket was scanned." "There's no issue," she counters, each word deliberate, like stones laid in a path. "Is there a problem?" A deep voice cuts through. Captain James Caldwell, 50, emerges from the cockpit, his presence commanding, his eyes cold. Clara hands him the boarding pass. She insists on 2B. Clara says, the word insists, dripping with doubt. Caldwell glances at Helen, his gaze a wall. "Miss Miller," he reads, then pauses. "We've had seat changes. You'd be more comfortable in economy." The words land like a gavel. Helen's breath catches, but she stands taller. "I paid for first class. I booked 2B. I will sit there," she declares, her voice a beacon in the dim cabin. Passengers board now. A bottleneck forming. Whispers rise, a chorus of judgment personified. David Kessler, a 48-year-old venture capitalist, slows, his phone half raised, eyes sharp with interest. "I understand your frustration," Caldwell says, his tone patronizing, a velvet glove over iron. "But as captain, I ensure proper seating." Helen's eyes flash. "What's improper about my ticket?" she asks, her patience a thinning thread. Caldwell's smile fades. "Let's not make a scene," he warns, nodding to Clara. "Get security." The cabin falls silent, the air heavy with shame. Some passengers look away, others stare, their eyes like spotlights. "On what grounds?" Helen demands, her voice rising, clear as a bell. "You're being disruptive," Clara snaps, mechanical, as 2 security officers appear. Helen's heart pounds, but her dignity holds. I'm not leaving voluntarily, she states. I have a valid ticket. This is about my appearance, not my actions. The officers hesitate. Ma'am, let's make this easy. One says. With grace unbroken, Helen gathers her satchel. As she's escorted out, the white executive slips into 2B. His smirk, a dagger. David Kessler meets her gaze, his nod a silent vow, his phone recording. The jetway echoes with her heels, each step a drumbeat of resolve. Outside the gate, Helen's composure cracks, a single tear tracing her cheek. She recalls her mother, a seamstress in Oakland, whispering, "Stand tall, no matter who pushes you down." The memory steadies her. She dials Lauren, her assistant. "Lauren, cancel tomorrow's Chicago meeting," she says, her voice firm. "I'm still in LA. There's been an incident." A pause, heavy with meaning. "Schedule our legal team for 8 a.m. and pull every detail on Horizon Air ownership, finances, everything." As she ends the call, the terminal windows frame Flight 1423 taxiing away, a beast of steel carrying her stolen seat. But Helen's gaze sharpens like a hawk spotting prey. This isn't defeat. It's the spark of a fire, one that will burn prejudice to ash. Horizon Air has made a grave mistake, and Helen Miller is no ordinary passenger. She's a force, and her fight has just begun. As Helen Miller steps away from the gate, her heel's defiant echo fades, but a fire kindles within her. The humiliation at Los Angeles International Airport, where Horizon Air stripped her of her first-class seat, is not the end, it's the beginning. Her resolve, like a phoenix rising from ash, transforms pain into purpose. Let's follow her journey from a stolen seat to a strategic master plan, where one woman's dignity becomes a beacon for justice. In her Santa Monica penthouse, the Pacific Ocean glimmers beyond floor-to-ceiling windows, a vast canvas of possibility. 4 monitors cast a soft glow, each screen dissecting Horizon Air's corporate skeleton. Helen, her navy suit now traded for a silk blouse, paces barefoot, her mind a storm of strategy. The sting of Clara Thompson's sneer and Captain James Caldwell's condescension lingers. But her mother's words stand talanker her. She recalls a childhood in Oakland, coding late into the night, defying those who doubted a black girl's brilliance. That same defiance fuels her now, a river carving through stone. Helen dials Lauren, her assistant, her voice steady as a lighthouse beam. "Lauren, cancel the Chicago deal. We're pivoting," she says. A pause, heavy with intent. "Pull every financial record on Horizon Air, ownership, debts, vulnerabilities. I want it all by dawn." Lauren's keystrokes hum through the phone. "Helen, what happened out there?" she asks, concern threading her words. "An injustice," Helen replies. "But one will turn into opportunity." As she hangs up, her gaze lands on a framed photo her mother, smiling, a seamstress who stitched dreams from scraps. This fight, Helen vows, is for her too. Her screens reveal Charles Rutherford II, Horizon's CEO, a silver-haired patriarch whose family built the airline in the 1940s. His smile, smug in a corporate headshot, betrays a man insulated by privilege, running a company rotting from within. Financials show Rutherford Capital teetering, a $50 million debt looming like a thunderhead. Helen's lips curve, a strategist spotting checkmate. This isn't just about her see-a-tits, about a system that thrives on exclusion, a culture she'll dismantle brick by brick. A call from Olivia Grant, her college friend and corporate attorney, crackles through. "Helen, I saw the video. File a discrimination suit. They'll settle fast." Olivia urges, her voice a blade. Helen leans back, her chair creaking softly. "A lawsuit's too small, Olivia. It's a bandage on a broken bone. I want justice that reshapes the future." Olivia scoffs, but her tone softens. "You're dreaming big. What's the play?" Helen's eyes gleam, like stars piercing a clouded sky. "Acquisition," she says. "We buy Horizon, we fix it from the top down." Silence, then Olivia's laugh, warm but wary. "You're serious? That's a $100 million gamble." Helen's response is iron. "It's not a gamble. It's a reckoning. A notification pings. David Kessler's video, capturing Clara's scrutiny and Helen's escort off the plane, has surged to 3 million views. The hashtag Boycott Horizon trends. A digital wildfire scorching the airline's name. Comments flood in outraged passengers, former employees, all echoing Helen's pain. "This happened to me," one writes. "They questioned my ticket too." The chorus of voices, like a choir singing truth, emboldens her. Rachel Kim from the Los Angeles Times calls, her voice crisp. "Miss Miller, your story's breaking the internet. Will you share your side?" Helen hesitates, her mind racing. "I'll call you tomorrow, Miss Kim. I need to choose my words with care." Public fury is a weapon, but one she'll wield precisely. Lauren texts, breathless. "Helen, check your email. Found a whistleblower's tip. Horizon's buried 4 diversity complaints this year alone." Helen opens the file, her pulse quickening. Internal memos hint at a pattern. A culture where Rutherford's unwritten rules keep first-class, exclusive filter down to every gate. The evidence, like scattered puzzle pieces, begins to form a damning picture. Another text from Lauren. Rutherford Capital's pitching investors for a $60 million lifeline. They're desperate. Helen's fingers hover over her keyboard, her mind a chessboard. This vulnerability is her opening, a crack in the fortress she'll widen. She calls Marcus, her CFO, his voice groggy at 10 p.m. "Helen, what's urgent enough for this hour?" he asks. "Liquidate our stake in Apex Innovations. I need $20 million in cash, ready by morning," she orders. Marcus sputters. "That's our safety net. Why now?" Helen's tone is steel. "Emergency meeting. 6 a.m. My office. Bring the acquisition playbook. We're buying an airline." A beat of silence. Then Marcus exhales. "You're insane, but I'm in." As she ends the call, Helen opens an email to her board, subject line, "Operation First Class." Her fingers fly, each word a brick in her plan's foundation. The humiliation, a wound still raw, fuels her clarity. Like a lighthouse cutting through fog, beyond her window, Santa Monica's lights twinkle, a constellation of hope. Helen's not just fighting for herself, she's fighting for every passenger questioned, every employee silenced, every dream deferred. Horizon Air, like a ship adrift, has underestimated her. They took her seat, but they've awakened a force. Tomorrow, her team will rally, her plan will sharpen, and Rutherford's empire will tremble. This is no longer about one flight. It's about rewriting the skies, where dignity boards first, and prejudice is left on the tarmac. Before diving into the story, please specify your city or country of residence in the comments section. Your feedback is what drives us forward. Best wishes from Asia. As Helen Miller's resolve hardens in her Santa Monica penthouse, a spark of justice ignites a broader flame. The viral video of her humiliation on Horizon Air has set the digital world ablaze, and now she's ready to forge alliances that will turn her solitary fight into a collective triumph. Join us as we step into a San Diego steakhouse, where unity becomes her greatest weapon, and the battle for Horizon Air takes a bold new turn. The Southern Tide, a San Diego haven of dim lights and leather booths, hums with quiet power. Helen arrives early, choosing a table with a clear view of the entrance, a habit honed from years of pitching to wary investors. Her silk blouse is impeccable, but her eyes burn with purpose, like a pilot's gaze locked on the runway. David Kessler enters, his stride confident, his handshake firm. A venture capitalist with a reputation for ethical investments, he carries the weight of his own grievance against Horizon. "Miss Miller," he greets, his voice warm, yet measured. "I wish we met under brighter skies. But your courage demands respect." Helen studies him, her mind a balanced scale. "Mr. Kessler, your video lit a fuse," she says, her tone steady. 3 million views and counting. Why risk your name for my fight? David's smile is faint, like dawn breaking. "It's not just your fight," he replies. "My daughter Sophia faced their bias last year. A first-class ticket, yet they questioned her, a Latina teenager. While I was away for a moment, her tears, they changed me." His voice catches a raw edge that pierces the air. He slides a tablet across the table, its screen glowing with a dossier 50 incidents of Horizon's discrimination over 2 years, a ledger of shame. Helen scrolls, hairbreadth shallow. Dates, flights, names a pattern, as clear as a constellation. They call it elite cabin standards, David explains, his tone grim. Code for exclusion. I've tracked this for months, waiting for the right moment. Helen meets his gaze, her resolve mirrored in his eyes. And now? She asks. Partnership, he answers, unwavering. My 20 million. Your expertise. We take Horizon's controlling interest in weeks, not months. The proposal lands like a thunderclap, its promise electrifying. What do you seek in return? Helen probes. A board seat, cultural reform, and a stake in justice. David says, his voice low. And to see Charles Rutherford face consequences for once. Their talk shifts to strategy, terms flowing like a river carving new paths. David's network, vast as the Pacific, complements Helen's tech acumen. Yet, as they plan, Helen's phone buzzes an unknown number. She steps away, her pulse quickening. Helen Miller, she answers, her voice a shield. Miss Miller, Edward Crane, representing Horizon Air. Comes a clipped reply. Your public claims are defamatory. We've noted unusual stock trading suggesting manipulation. Retract your allegations, or we'll defend our interests vigorously. The threat, like a storm cloud, looms heavy. Mr. Crane, I experienced discrimination. Witnessed by millions, Helen retorts, calm as granite. As for stocks, I'm an investor seeing value. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm dining. She ends the call, her resolve sharpened, a blade honed by Horizon's fear. Returning to David, she shares the threat. They're rattled, he observes, his eyes narrowing. Good. We accelerate. He dials a contact at Pacific Trust, a firm eyeing Horizon's roots. They need our pitch now, he says. Helen nods, her mind racing. But a new challenge emerges. Her primary bank, swayed by Rutherford's influence, pulls a $30 million loan. Undeterred, she calls Lauren. Reach the Latino Investment Coalition in Miami, she instructs. We need their capital. Fast. Lauren's voice crackles with determination. On it, Helen. They'll see why this matters. By midnight, the coalition pledges $25 million, their trust in Helen's vision, a tapestry of shared struggle sealing the deal. Another message arrives, this time from Clara Thompson, the flight attendant who sparked Helen's ordeal. Miss Miller, I need to speak privately, Clara writes, her words trembling even in text. Helen arranges a meeting at a bustling San Diego cafe. Olivia Grant stationed nearby, security discreetly placed. Clara arrives, her uniform gone, her face bare of makeup, hands clutching a purse like a lifeline. I'm sorry, she whispers, her voice breaking. What happened? It wasn't just me. Helen leans forward, her gaze steady. Why did it happen, Miss Thompson? She asks, her tone a quiet demand. Clara's confession spills like a dam bursting. We were taught elite cabin rules unwritten but clear. Profile passengers keep first class exclusive. Her shame, raw as an open wound, hangs in the air. Incentives came, better shifts. Routes if we complied. Captain Caldwell led it, checking manifests, muttering about standards. Helen's heart stirs, anger mingling with pity. Why speak now? She presses. They're blaming me, Clara says, tears glinting. HR wants me fired, claiming I acted alone. She offers evidence, 12 supervisor texts, training manuals with coded phrases, a recorded HR meeting. I was wrong, Clara admits, her voice a fragile thread. Every time I followed their rules, I lost a piece of myself. Helen weighs Clara's words, her mind a scales of justice. This woman, once her adversary, is now a key to unraveling Horizon's deceit. Would you testify to investigators? Helen asks. Clara nods, resolute. It's time to stand up, she says. As Helen leaves, her heart carries a complex burden, fury at Clara's role, yet hope for her redemption. Back at her penthouse, David awaits with news. Rutherford's tied to Senator Hargrove, he reports, revealing campaign funds funneled through shell companies. The web of power, like a spider's silk, begins to fray. Helen's alliance, David's capital. Clara's evidence. Miami's trust forms a constellation of strength. Horizon's threats, like waves against a cliff, only solidify her purpose. The battle, once a solitary spark, now blazes with collective might, a fire that will reshape the skies. Rutherford's empire, built on prejudice, faces a reckoning, and Helen Miller stands at its heart, unyielding, unstoppable. Hey folks, justice takes strength. Eat a hearty meal today to fuel your fight. And don't forget those 2 liters of water to keep your spirit clear. Stay strong, keep listening. With Helen Miller's alliance forged in the dim glow of a San Diego steakhouse, her fight against Horizon Air's prejudice gains unstoppable momentum. Yet, as her coalition tightens its grip, Charles Rutherford II, Horizon's embattled CEO, unleashes a desperate counterstrike, wielding lies and leverage to protect his crumbling empire. Step into the heart of this corporate storm, where Helen's resolve faces its fiercest test, and truth battles deception in a clash that will shake the skies. In Horizon's Chicago headquarters, a glass tower piercing the skyline, Rutherford paces a mahogany-paneled office, his silver hair glinting under harsh lights. The viral video of Helen's humiliation, now at 4 million views, has slashed Horizon's stock by 10%, a wound bleeding shareholder trust. His allies' board members, tethered by old money and older loyalties, murmur nervously. This Miller woman's relentless. One warns. Rutherford's jaw tightens, his voice a low growl. She's a spark. We'll douse her. His plan, like a serpent coiling, is to smear Helen's name, sway her allies, and sell Horizon before she can seize it. Helen, in her Santa Monica penthouse, feels the storm's approach. Her phone buzzes with a Forbes Alertin exclusive interview with Rutherford. Miss Miller exploits a minor misunderstanding for personal gain, he claims. His words slick as oil. He paints her as an opportunist, digging up her Oakland roots, twisting her rise from hardship into a tale of calculated ambition. Worse, he insinuates MillerTech Solutions overstated its cybersecurity prowess, citing recent client breaches. The lies, like mud slung at a lighthouse, aim to dim her credibility. Helen's chest tightens, but her eyes narrow, like a captain spotting a reef. He's scared, she murmurs, her voice steady. Clients waver, their calls flooding Lauren's desk. Is MillerTech stable? A black-owned startup CEO asks, his voice tense. Helen takes the call herself, her tone warm, like a hearth in winter. We declined risky contracts to uphold our standards, she assures. Our mission's unchanged security for all. Her words, a bridge over troubled waters, steady him. Yet, the media onslaught intensifies. A tabloid dredges up her mother's struggles, framing Helen's past as sordid. The invasion, like a thief in the night, stings, but Helen's resolve hardens, a diamond under pressure. She strikes back, releasing David Kessler's evident 15 internal emails, 20 employee testimonies through trusted outlets. One email from Rutherford to his VP demands cabin exclusivity to maintain client comfort. Another dismisses diversity hires as appeasing regulators. The revelations, like lightning splitting a dark sky, ignite outrage. Horizon hides truth trends, amassing 6 million posts. A former HR manager, Lena Harper, gives a CNN interview, her voice trembling. I flagged bias in promotions. Rutherford buried my report, she reveals. The public's fury, a tidal wave, erodes Horizon's facade. Rutherford's next move is bolder, a $100 million sale to Pacific Skies, a rival airline eager to preserve his management. The deal, like a fortress gate slamming shut, aims to block Helen's takeover. Lauren, fueled by coffee and loyalty, uncovers the letter of intent in Horizon's filings. They're rushing to close in 96 hours, she reports, her eyes wide. Helen's mind races, a chessboard alive with moves. We need leverage, she says. Dialing Olivia Grant. Find regulatory weaknesses. Now. Olivia's voice crackles with focus. Give me 12 hours. At 2 a.m., Lauren bursts into Helen's office, clutching documents. 8 safety violations covered up, she says, breathless. Rutherford altered FAA reports. The evidence, like a key to a locked vault, is gold. Helen contacts her regulatory consultant, a retired FAA official. By dawn, the FAA announces a probe into Horizon's compliance, its spotlight searing. Pacific Skies, spooked by the liability, withdraws their offer, the deal collapsing like a house of cards. Helen exhales, her team's faces lit with weary triumph, their hearts beating like war drums. Yet, Rutherford's reach extends further. A client, pressured by Horizon's allies, threatens to pull a $5 million contract. Helen meets them in a virtual call, her presence commanding, like a general on the eve of battle. Our vision aligns with your sequity. Excellence, she says. Join us, not them. Her sincerity, a beacon through fog, sways them. Meanwhile, David faces backlash. His partners question his personal bias over Sophia's experience. Are you wavering? Helen asks. Her voice a quiet challenge. Never, David replies, his resolve iron. Let's shift the narrative. They leak more evidence training manuals with coded bias. Statistics showing black passengers face 30% more seat challenges. The response, like a chorus swelling, is seismic. Civil rights groups rally, their voices a symphony of justice. Horizon's stock plummets another 12%. Trading halted to stem the bleed. Helen's team, sleepless but unyielding, works through the night, their office a war room of charts and coffee cups. We're close, Helen says, her voice a calm sea. Rutherford's flailing. We strike harder. As dawn paints the Pacific gold, Helen stands at her window, the horizon a promise. Rutherford's desperation, like a cornered beast's thrash, reveals his weakness. Her alliance, David's evidence. Lauren's diligence. Olivia's law stands firm. A fortress against his lies. The battle, now a public crusade, draws every eye. Horizon's empire, built on exclusion, cracks under truth's weight. Helen's next move, a shareholders' showdown, looms like a storm on the horizon, and she's ready to steer through it, unbowed, unbreakable. Before continuing, take a moment for yourself. Justice demands endurance. Have you eaten today? Keep those 2 liters of water flowing to stay sharp. Stay with us, and let's soar to the next chapter. As Helen Miller thwarts Charles Rutherford's desperate counterstrikes, the battle for Horizon Air reaches its zenith. With evidence exposing the airline's prejudice and public outrage shaking its foundations, Helen now steps into the Lion's Den Chicago boardroom, where shareholders will decide Horizon's fate. Join us for the showdown, where truth clashes with privilege and a throne built on exclusion faces its reckoning. Horizon's Chicago headquarters looms, a glass monolith reflecting the city's steel heart. Inside, the boardroom is a battleground, its mahogany table gleaming under chandeliers. Helen enters, flanked by David Kessler and Olivia Grant, her navy suit a quiet armor. The air crackles with tension, like a storm poised to break. Security eyes them warily, but Olivia's documentation proof of their 25% stock ownership and 33% proxy vote silences objections. We're here for the shareholders' meeting, Helen states, her voice clear as a bell. The corporate secretary, Thomas Vaughn, leads them in, his forced smile a mask. Charles Rutherford II sits at the table's head, his silver hair immaculate, his expression a fortress of confidence. Only a twitching jaw betrays his unease. Beside him, his daughter, Charlotte, and loyal executives form a wall of defiance. Miss Miller, Rutherford greets, his nod curt. You've brought quite the entourage. Helen meets his gaze, her composure a shield. Thank you for accommodating us, Mr. Rutherford, she replies, her tone even, like a calm sea before a gale. Shareholders file in, Factions clear. Rutherford's old guard allies cluster near him. Independents hover in the center, and Helen's coalition claims the opposite end. The meeting begins. Formalities ticking like a clock. Roll calls, stock verifications each step a prelude to the main event. A no-confidence vote against Rutherford's leadership and a bid for new control. Rutherford rises, his voice resonating, a patriarch defending his legacy. Esteemed shareholders. He begins, pacing slowly. Horizon Air, for 80 years, has carried millions through crises, wars, recessions, turbulence. My family built this airline, a beacon of American excellence. His gaze locks on Helen, sharp as a blade. Miss, Miller exploits a regrettable misunderstanding, wrapping financial ambition in social rhetoric. This takeover threatens our heritage, our stability. Murmurs ripple, some nodding at Rutherford's words, their loyalty rooted in tradition. He gestures expansively. What does a tech executive know of aviation? Of 15,000 employees, 150 aircraft? This is not Progressit's vengeance, pure and simple. His voice rises, a preacher's fervor. But Helen remains still, her face a canvas of calm. The room, like a held breath, awaits her response. Helen stands, straightening her jacket, her presence commanding, like a lighthouse in a storm. Thank you, Mr. Rutherford, for defending your legacy. She begins, her voice steady. Each word, a stone in a mosaic. Legacy matters, what we leave behind, the values we uphold. She pauses, her eyes sweeping the room. Today's question isn't about erasing Horizon's history. It's about confronting its shadows and charting a brighter course. She opens a folder, its contents a sword of truth, and projects a slide of data showing Horizon's 40% higher discrimination complaints compared to industry norms. Mr. Rutherford calls my experience a misunderstanding, Helen continues, her tone measured. But evidence speaks louder. Another slide emails from Rutherford himself, directing cabin exclusivity to ensure client comfort. Gasps punctuate the silence. Some passengers don't welcome diversity in first class. One email reads, "Its words a stain." Rutherford's face reddens, his voice cutting in. Out of context, he snaps, but Helen presses on, unshaken. The context is clear, a pattern of bias, etched in policy harming passengers, employees, and profits. She presents more testimonies from 25 former staff, statistics of 30% higher turnover, 8 concealed safety violations. Horizon stock has fallen 15% in 3 quarters, she states, her voice a quiet thunder. Customer satisfaction lags, employee morale crumbles. This isn't one incident, it's a failure of leadership, ethics, vision. Rutherford rises, his composure cracking, like ice under strain. "Who are you to lecture me?" he demands, his voice a roar. "You, with your equity crusade, tearing down what my grandfather built." The outburst, raw and reckless, stills the room, a mirror shattering. Shareholders shift, unease palpable. Helen, unflinching, turns to them. "I lack 80 years in aviation," she acknowledges. "But I bring innovation, integrity, a commitment to excellence for all." David stands beside her, his voice firm. "Our team, aviation experts, financial strategists, just turned around empires. We'll modernize Horizon, rebuild trust, honor its strengths." Their plan unfolds: new systems, inclusive training, a brand reborn. The room listens, rapt, like a jury weighing truth. Maria Chen, a shareholder representing Coastal Fund, raises her hand, her voice thoughtful. "Miss Miller, change brings risk. Why trust your vision?" Helen's response is ready, like a pilot's instinct. "Because we've done it before," she says, projecting MillerTech's metrics: 90% staff retention, 40% profit growth through bold reform. "We respect Horizon's roots, but challenge its flaws. We'll soar higher. Together." Maria nods, her pen scratching notes. A pivotal ally swayed. The vote begins, electronic tallies flickering on a secure screen. The room holds its breath, time stretching like a taut wire. Helen's heart races, but her face is serene, a captain in turbulence. The secretary rises. The vote for no confidence and new control. 54.2% in favor. 45.8% opposed. The motion passes. Silence. Then a seismic shift. Rutherford slams the table, his voice trembling. "This isn't over. I'll fight this in every court." Helen's reply is calm. A lighthouse beam. "That's your right, Mr. Rutherford. But control has shifted. Legally now." Rutherford leans close, his whisper venomous. "You'll regret this, taking what's mine." Security tenses, but Helen stands firm. "This transition can be dignified or contentious," she says, her voice unwavering. "The choice is yours." Charlotte touches her father's arm, whispering, and he straightens, gathering his pride like scattered armor. "My lawyers will be in touch," he says stiffly. Exiting, the doors thud, a final note. The room transforms, allies approaching Helen, employees exchanging hopeful glances. She allows one breath of triumph, like a dawn breaking, before turning to the task. "We have work to do," she declares, her voice a call to build anew. Horizons thrown, built on prejudice, lies toppled. And Helen Miller stands ready to raise a new legacy, one where every seat is earned, every passenger belongs. With Helen Miller's triumph in the Chicago boardroom, Horizon Air's old guard falls, and a new era beckons. Having toppled a throne built on prejudice, Helen now faces her greatest challenge: rebuilding an airline from its fractured roots into a beacon of equality and excellence. Step into Horizon's headquarters, where a new dawn rises. And the work of transformation begins with steady hands and hopeful hearts. Horizon's Chicago headquarters, once a fortress of exclusion, now hums with possibility. Helen transforms a conference room into a war room, its walls papered with organizational charts, flight schedules, and reform timelines. Her Navy suit is gone, replaced by a simple blazer, her presence a quiet command. Like a captain charting untested skies. "Stabilize operations first," she instructs her team, her voice clear, a compass in chaos. "Passengers must feel no disruption. Then, we reshape the culture." David Kessler nods, his eyes alight with shared purpose, while Olivia Grant drafts legal frameworks to protect their vision. Helen calls 15,000 employees to a cavernous hangar, a sea of anxious faces watching her on a makeshift stage, thousands more streaming live. The air crackles with uncertainty, like a dawn not yet broken. "I know you fear for your jobs," she begins, her words warm, like sunlight piercing clouds. "You are Horizon's heart mechanics, pilots, gate agents. Our fight was with leadership, not you." Relief ripples, shoulders easing. "But change is here," she continues, her voice firm. "Discrimination ends today. Every complaint will be heard, every bias uprooted." Her promise, a seed planted, stirs hope, like spring after a long winter. Clara Thompson, once Helen's adversary, steps forward, her hands trembling but her gaze steady. "Miss Miller, I want to help," she says in a private meeting, her voice a fragile bridge. "I know the training where bias hides, how it's taught." Helen studies her heart weighing justice against mercy. 3 months, probation? Helen decides, her tone measured. "Your knowledge can heal what you once harmed." Clara's eyes glisten, gratitude a silent vow. Captain James Caldwell, unyielding to change, submits his resignation, his departure a quiet echo of a fading era. To understand Horizon's flaws, Helen boards a flight incognito, her eyes sharp in economy and first class. She sees subtle bias upgrades skewed, complaints dismissed woven into routines like thorns in a rose. In a quiet office, she meets 10 past victims, their stories raw, their pain a mirror of her own. "Your voices will shape our path," she promises, her words a balm. New policies bloom, colorblind seat assignments, clear dress code erasing barriers, like clearing fog from a runway. A young pilot, Jamal, shares his overlooked skills, his talent buried under old biases. Helen mentors him, her guidance a ladder to the cockpit. Employees nominate colleagues for inclusive service, their stories flooding in, like stars breaking through night. A gate agent, tearful. "Thanks, Helen, for fair guidelines. I can help people now, not judge them," she says. Helen smiles. Her heart warmed, like a hearth kindled anew. Horizon's culture, once rigid, begins to bend. A river finding a new course. As Helen Miller reshapes Horizon Air's culture, sowing seeds of equality in its Chicago hangar, the airline begins to heal from its prejudiced past. Now, months later, her vision takes flight in a triumphant rebirth. As Horizon transforms into Unity Airlines, a symbol of inclusion soaring across American skies. Join us in Dallas, where celebration marks a new legacy. And Helen's journey from a denied seat to a transformed empire reaches its soaring crescendo. A Dallas hangar, vast as a cathedral, pulses with joy, its steel beams draped in vibrant banners of blue and gold. Unity Airlines, Horizon's reborn identity, unveils itself to a crowd of employees, media, and community leaders. A Boeing 787 gleams outside, its livery a tapestry of colors, greens, purples woven into a horizon line, like America's diverse heart painted on wings. Helen stands at a podium, her blazer simple, her presence radiant. A lighthouse guiding all to shore. Beside her, David Kessler, Clara Thompson, and new leaders share her quiet pride, their faces alight with hope, like stars in a clear dawn. 8 months ago, we began a journey. Helen begins, her voice warm, resonating through the hangar. A journey to build an airline where excellence embraces everyone. She gestures to screens flashing metrics. 75% stock growth, 45% higher passenger satisfaction, 12% better on-time flights. Applause swells, a wave of shared victory. But numbers are only half the story, she continues, her tone softening like a mother's lullaby. The true change lives in our daily choices. Respect over suspicion. Unity over division. Her words, a gentle rain, nourish hearts long parched by bias. Clara steps forward, now head of customer experience. Her voice steady, a bridge rebuilt. "I once enforced rules that shamed," she confesses, her candor raw, like an open wound healed. "Now, I'm proud to share Unity's new standards training rooted in dignity. Service that sees every passenger as equal." She outlines reforms bias, free protocols, flexible problem-solving praised as industry benchmarks. Employees nod, some wiping tears, their pride a quiet hymn. Helen's heart swells, Clara's redemption a mirror of Unity's own. David shares operational wins, 40% more diverse hires, a leadership pipeline reflecting Unity's passengers, like a quilt of many threads. "Inclusion isn't just right," he says, his voice firm. "It's smart, better decisions, broader reach, stronger profits." The crowd roars, their cheers a gust lifting wings. Helen announces the Unity Futures program, funding 30 minority students in aviation. "Meet our first scholars," she says, gesturing to 20 youths near the stage, their eyes bright, like seeds ready to sprout. One, Mia, vows to become a mechanic, her dream a spark kindled by Helen's fight. Later, Helen boards Unity's inaugural Flight 1423, retracing her ill-fated route to Chicago. In Seat 2B, unchallenged, she finds a note from Clara. "We've all soared higher. Thank you." Captain Aisha Brooks, Unity's first black female captain, greets passengers, her voice a warm embrace. "Welcome aboard," she says, her confidence a crown earned through overlooked years. Charles Rutherford, invited to witness, stands at the gate, his face etched with reluctant awe, like a king beholding a new realm. "This was never about your seat," Helen told him earlier. "It's about seats for all who deserve them." As the plane climbs, Dallas fading below, Helen gazes at Unity's logo on the wing, a promise kept. Her journey, born in humiliation, has woven a new tapestry where dignity boards first, and prejudice is left behind. The horizon stretches endless, a canvas for dreams, and Unity Airlines soars, a testament to what justice, built with heart and hands, can achieve. Folks, transformation takes strength. Walk 20 minutes today to keep your spirit soaring. And those 2 liters of water? They're your wings for change. Stay tuned for our final reflection. As Unity Airlines soars from a Dallas hangar, Helen Miller's vision transforms a prejudiced past into a future where every passenger belongs. Her journey, from a denied seat to a reborn airline, now invites us to reflect on its lessons and rise in our own lives. Let's close this story with a call to action, where hope kindles courage, and one woman's fight inspires a nation. Helen's path, like a river carving through stone, turned pain into purpose. Her dignity, echoing Rosa Parks, stood firm against injustice. She didn't settle for apologies, but rebuilt a system, proving change begins with roots, not leaves. Allies David, Clara, countless employees showed Unity's power. A chorus stronger than any solo, Clara's redemption reminds us. Growth is possible, with accountability as its guide. Unity's success, profits soaring with principles, affirms that ethics and excellence embrace, like wings lifting a plane. This story, a beacon in turbulent times, calls you to act. Seek one bias in your workplace, your community. Research its roots, find one ally. Take one step, a conversation, a policy, a stand. Share your journey with Rise for Justice, a spark to light others' fires. Helen's triumph, born from a stolen seed, teaches us justice isn't claimed, it's built. Brick by brick, heart by heart. Rise, like dawn after a stormy night. Your seat at the table awaits or better. Build a bigger table where all belong. Keep soaring, keep dreaming, keep fighting for a world where unity truly flies.